Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. So nice to see everybody and see people joining. I want to do a quick introduction before we dive in and get started. So I will start off. My name is Katie. I work for Cybert. I'm a marketing specialist and also the host today. So if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to add them to the chat and we'll do our best to address those. And I have three of my awesome colleagues here with me, so I will pass the proverbial microphone over to Colin for a quick introduction. If you could share where you're located and also what you do, that would be awesome.
Hey everyone, Colin Helke. I'm a solution engineer at Siebert Solutions US. I've been with the company for over 6 years now. I live in Wisconsin. Kind of my day-to-day is just talking to customers, talking to them about their challenges and coming up with solutions. I'll pass it over to Brielle.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here today. My name is Brielle. I'm on the West Coast, so located in Portland, Oregon. So it's a nice, typical rainy day here. And I am our account manager in the US. So I've been in the Atlassian ecosystem for about 5 years, started out on the licensing side of things. But my day-to-day is really working with existing customers and diving into their setup and helping them understand how to better use their Atlassian tools. So very excited to be here, and I'll pass that off to Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Priya. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm located in Germany, so it's in the evening here, and I'm mostly a software developer and looking at Rovo from a more technical perspective. So I hope I can bring in this view to the webinar.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. So today we're diving into a session about Rovo, specifically how Rovo can benefit project managers. And just to give a little bit of background in case anyone is super unfamiliar with Rovo, it is the native AI tool within Atlassian's toolset. So Jira, Confluence, Jira Service Management, Rovo is embedded natively into all of these tools. And as we know, AI is, evolving at the speed of light, basically. There's something new coming out almost every day. And so to help you get ahead in your role and help you integrate AI into your everyday workflows, we're doing this webinar to make it a little bit more tangible of how you can use Rovo, what you can do with it, and how that can ultimately help you be more successful in project management and delivery. So that being said, I will go on to introduce just a little bit more specifically the key components of Rovo, and then I will open the floor up to everybody else. But I wanted to start by sort of defining Rovo. So there are three key aspects that are important to keep in mind, three almost key features of Rovo. So there's search, chat, and agents. So search is enterprise search. And one of the things that makes this really relevant is that Rovo will be searching through all of your existing tools that you have connected to it. So of course, all of the products that you have in the Atlassian suite and other connectors as well. Think like Google Drive, SharePoint, Asana, maybe anything that you want to connect with Rovo, that's possible. And later on, we'll also talk about how to connect apps that don't have a connector out of the box, and Paul will help us walk through that. So I will start off by sharing my screen and actually going through just a little bit of an example of how you can use enterprise search. So right here, I'm in a Confluence instance, and this space is for mobile development. So in our example demo here, we're on a mobile development team. And let's say that I want to search for, pretty much anything. It searches through people, pages, connected Jira items. Maybe somebody recently joined the team, or maybe I'm new to the team. And I want to know, hey, who is Max Taylor? Who's this person? What are they working on? So as you can see here, it pops up with a little icon with a little bit of an explanation of where the person lives and what their role is, and also comes with all these pages as well as other Jira work items that Max Taylor is tagged on. So another way that you can access Rovo Search is actually by clicking this little menu in the upper left and going directly to search here. So this will give you kind of a fresh view. And let's say I want to dive in a little bit deeper and I want to ask for a little bit of a catch up. So maybe I want to know what happened in the last weekly meeting. Let's say I was out of office and I want Rovo to help me catch up. So again, it's searching through all of the relevant information and connected data that's unique to your organization. And the enterprise search has given me this answer with an agenda, some attendees, and also the source. So I'm going to go ahead and click into that source, and cool, we have the weekly meeting notes, we have a little bit of an overview of what happened, and also some action items. So that's a little bit of an overview of search. Of course, there's lots of other things that you could search for, but for the sake of time for the webinar, I'm going to jump on to the second thing that Rovo is really good at, which is chat. And so this is the natural language interface that you're used to in like ChatGPT or Gemini. And in this case, it's, again, available right inside of your Confluence or Jira. So I'm going to go over here to the upper right-hand side and click Ask Rovo. And, based on these meeting notes, I see that we have a few action items, and I want to use Rovo to help me move those items forward. So I'm going to ask it to write an email to our top customers. And you can see here that it actually takes the context of the page that it's on, and it notices that we wanted to ask these customers for a case study. So it drafts an email for me here, and from there, it's really easy to either copy this directly into my email client or ask it to personalize or refine from there. So the last thing that I wanted to show that involves a little bit of chat, but also agents. Agents is the third thing that Rovo can help you with. And, you might have heard of agentic AI before, where AI is not just a chat or a search, but it's actually an assistant, right? It can take action on your behalf and help you actually get tasks done. So Rovo Agents is just that. Colin will be going into a little bit more depth of exactly how you can use agents to help move projects forward. But I just wanted to show you another example of what Rovo agents can do for you. So in here, we have an example of a retrospective board. This is the whiteboard feature inside of Confluence. And let's say we're doing a retrospective of the mobile app launch. So one of the really cool things that you can do here, after you've collected feedback, maybe from your retro meeting, you can just select the board that it's on, click Group Related, and then you'll see here, Rovo or Atlassian Intelligence is grouping these sticky notes or these ideas by category. So we've got marketing, customer service, and also feedback. So that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to keep that. We have some themes with our retrospective on what went well. And then the other thing you can do here is actually connect Confluence and Jira. So let's say that one of the action items that we want to move forward from this retrospective is editing the logo on the mobile login page. So I'm going to click over here to create a Jira work item. And you can see it already pops up with the related mobile development space in Jira. And it also has a suggested assignee as well, which I can change. So I'll just assign that to myself, click create. And in seconds, we have a Jira work item here to actually track these action items moving forward. So with that, I will actually start a poll for the audience to get a little bit of interactivity here. So I would like to know, what's your biggest challenge with AI today? There'll be a poll that pops up on stage in a moment here. And if you are watching live, feel free to let us know, and we'll have the live answers come on the screen. Okay, so we have doesn't work like I want it to. Okay, a lot of people are voting for that. We have other, so feel free to share that in the chat as well if you have more context that you'd like to share. Okay, so hopefully we can help with some of that, right? Making these tools like Rovo work a little bit more the way you want. We don't know how to use it. Okay, totally valid. No security issues so far, so that's good. All right, I'm going to hide the poll from the stage, but that will continue to be available in the side. And I want to continue on diving in a little bit deeper. So, Colin, I would love to hear from your perspective on how Rovo can be used a little bit more deeply for project managers.
Thank you, Katie. And I think that poll, before I share my screen and get started, I think that poll kind of represents everyone. AI has kind of burst onto the scene the last couple of years, or really the last year. And it's not going anywhere. So we have to learn how to use it. We have to learn how to talk to it. And a lot of customers that I talk to, I kind of tell them to treat it more as a colleague than just a tool like a Google or something. Learn how to speak to it. Learn how to, and this all comes with experience. There's no, magic formula. Different tools. Rovo is gonna act a little bit different than Gemini or ChatGPT. So that's where Katie was creating some agents and giving them more context and kind of a role will help inform that AI agent and make it easier to talk to because the information you put into it will spit out better information, more useful information. So when I was deciding what I wanted to kind of show off here within Jira, I didn't want to get too complicated of a thing to show you, but I wanted to give you something that you could right after this maybe go into Jira and start using right away. So let me share real quick. Okay, so I have a list of issues here. You could easily do this in a backlog or whatnot, but a lot of people focus on kind of the like Ask Rovo or the search on the right side, but they kind of miss when you go into an issue. You have a AI or a Rovo button up top here. So it says improve epic. So, say this epic, it's been around for a while. It's got, tens of hundreds of comments, some on there. I want to kind of learn what everyone's been talking about. You can click improve epic, summarize comments. So this is going to, read all of those comments, kind of spit out a bullet pointed list of what's been talked about. And then, we can add that to the description, or we could add it as the top comment. But once again, it is going to take that context. It's then our job. It saved me 10 minutes of reading through these comments and writing. Now I spent 2-3 minutes verifying. Okay, this sounds right. Yep. Maybe add a little bit, highlight and refine, making it shorter, making it longer, changing the tone. All can be done with the AI. So summarizing those comments, I think is one thing I think people spend a lot of time on, or spend a lot of time looking through those comments when some of that information maybe should be in Confluence. But I really like that one. Same thing with like your stories. So let's go to this story. Maybe you have a sentence or two in the story and you want a little bit more detail. You can see what AI comes up with the description to give better context, better details, so developers and anyone really looking at this issue understands what this story is trying to say. So once again, it comes up with a story. It's our job to, okay, does this make sense based on the context that we know that the AI might not know. So you can see how fast it creates this context, the acceptance criteria, and maybe some other information that it can gather from this project, and you can beautify it, make it look good, or refine it as need be. So those are kind of two things I like to just point out right away, because anyone can use it. There's no creating of agents or knowing where to go. It's already in your issues. It's, it'll take that context, it'll read the entire the project, and give you this information pretty quickly. Next thing we'll go over, talk about agents a little bit. So if you are in the Ask Rovo, this is how I like to get to the agent studio. You click on Rovo, you have a list of agents. You can click create agent, and it takes you to the Atlassian studio. The other way you can get there is if you go to the 4 squares here, and then go to studio, should be on your product list. From here, I like using this builder. You can skip to a manual setup, but if you just kind of paste in or come up with what you want this AI to do. So I have you're an assistant that summarizes Jira epics and its children. When you do that, Rovo will kind of read it, and it will set up an agent for you with some conversation starters. You can go and select the knowledge and actions afterwards, but then it gives it instructions in a more detailed way that we can all kind of refine as we use this agent. So once again, the overview, you can go to the identity, change the name, the description to help people who might use it, refine that behavior if we want it to, talk in a certain way, have a certain tone, have some conversation starters. I know this one, for me, I'm a ITSM guy. So for me, like with the service desk, these conversation starters are really good to kind of key people into, giving certain answers and information that will then feed, the AI to provide documents and prevent tickets to being created. And then scenarios. You can have a couple different scenarios. I just recommend starting with this default scenario that kind of describes what we put in that first prompt. So the trigger is when someone selects this agent, they are going to get an agent that summarizes Jira Epic and its children's, including stories, tasks, bugs, so on. The knowledge base, we're just going to keep it at all organizational knowledge. You can customize that. So if you want to refine it to a certain project or a certain Confluence space that it only pulls its data from and doesn't get context from anywhere else, you can limit that. And then you can have it add skills. So like Katie mentioned, you can have it connected to various different tools outside of just your Atlassian suite. But for right now, we'll just give it the skills to create work items, find similar work items in Jira. If I'm working with this agent and I want it to, create a sprint or update, issue severity, I can ask it to do that, but I need to give it permission and those skills to do that. So once I have those skills selected, I can click activate. And now it's active. Anyone can use it. I can go back to my list of issues I have here, browse agents, Jira Epic Summarizer. And say summarize mobile one. And so once we, give it its prompt, it will start kind of doing this thing. You can see it work in real life, but it's going to give us kind of what it thinks are the relevant fields, the team that's working on it, all of its child issues, where what statuses they're in, kind of an overview of everything. And if you wanted more details, you wanted to know which tasks are currently in progress or different, let's see what live demo. We'll see what happens if we say how will scalability issues be addressed. And you can see here it's diving deeper into the mobile 28 issue and giving me those answers. So Rather than me having to maybe create a dashboard or write some JQL, I can just ask this Rovo agent to summarize things and then dig deeper as we keep going. I'm not necessarily asking it for the information, but I'm having a conversation where I can say, how do you interpret these issues? How do you see this work being done? So one example of what an agent can do. Another one, if I go to this tab, I did this one earlier just to kind of save a little bit of time, but I have an agent called Jira Project Summarizer. So what this agent does, or what its prompt is to do, is to summarize an entire project for stakeholders that might not be in Jira, and this would be exported as a Confluence page. So what it came up with, was just showing off all of these epics to me, and I said, okay, that looks good, but can you put the issue links in the titles rather than just having a list of them where people can't click in? So it gave me the kind of epic summaries with different fields. So again, you could ask for more fields if you'd want. And so then going to Confluence, this is my Confluence page with that summary. So once again, it's taking a little bit of the grunt work out of things, gives you a starting point for you to build off of. Another thing, just like the Jira epics and the stories where we could kind of refine the content, if you're in Confluence and you highlight the summary here, okay, this is a little bit long. I want to improve the writing. I want to make it shorter. I can kind of summarize what that project is in 2 sentences rather than 4. Once again, I'll verify that this sounds correct and that it is good. But then I have my overview ready, or 90% ready. Another one that I like to show people is if you want to create best practice guides. So say teams aren't writing a good story, or maybe they need more information. I just asked Rovo in general. So I just hit start chat. Create Jira best practice guides for our users, including how to write good user story and the difference between epic and task. Use examples from the parcel path project. So this project that it is looking. And so it pulls out those different definitions of epic, task, user story, gives some standard formatting, and we could change that standard and edit this as we go. And then giving some examples from this project, and just helping us do that kind of grunt work, because no one really loves making that documentation. So this kind of gets you 90% of the way there. You can kind of edit and beautify it a little bit later and have that documentation to get better stories, epics, and data in general, which then fuels the AI even more, and so on. So those were kind of a couple things that I wanted to show off. I definitely, if you guys have more questions or want to see more complex stuff, you can throw them in chat. I'm sure Katie will send out maybe my meeting link afterwards that we can meet, talk about maybe your specific use cases, how we could build a more complex Rovo agent, and how to use Rovo in general. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, Colin. I really appreciate that walkthrough. And I do want to highlight what you said at the beginning. If you have really bad data to begin with and people aren't updating the stories or descriptions at all, you're not going to get the greatest answers. So yeah, I like to remember trash in, trash out. So the better that you can do with putting quality information in first, the better your team will be. So yeah, I think we're gonna move forward then. And we mentioned a little bit before that there's all of these tools that you can connect with Rovo. So there's over 50 already existing connectors for a lot of the really popular tools that are out there, like Google, Figma, etc., GitLab, and you know that probably covers a lot of the use cases. However, if you do have a specialized tool that there's not an existing connector for, and you want to get that information so that Rovo can read it and respond using that context, then you will have to connect a custom tool. And that is why we have Paul here, and he is going to do an awesome walkthrough of an example of how we did that internally, and the results that we got from that. So I will hand it over to Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. I will share my screen also. Where is it? There is it. Yes, as Katie already mentioned, we have already many connectors for Rovo, but they're mostly bigger applications, Google, Adobe, and all of that. But companies tend to have smaller apps or custom solutions. Maybe they're hosting them themselves. So you also want to include those information to Rovo and get answers and work with the data. So the solution so far is to add a custom connector app, which is basically a Forge app. I think some of you already heard it. So this is an app that you install on your site and then enable the connection to enable the connection to your application. This enables you to call arbitrary third-party APIs. You can then have some custom logic, maybe some security checks or anything else. And as this is all written in Forge, you have secure authentication without having the risk of losing your data in any way. So and how is this working? We have the Rovo agent, as Colin already showed, where you add your prompt and tell the agent what to do. And if you use the right words, then it will call the action in the app, which then calls the third-party API and retrieves the data from the external source. And then Rovo gets the raw answer and makes a human readable answer out of it, because API tend to return structured data which are not so good for humans to read. All right, just a small introduction to the Forge Rovo modules. There are two of them which can be used in a Forge app. The one is an agent. Colin already showed how to do this in Rovo Studio. We call it no-code agents, but you can also do it programmatically and have it in your app, which then provides another agent for you to use. The next thing that I already mentioned is the action. So this is actually the part where the API to the third-party service is called. And with those two, you can build a whole kind of a workflow or some custom logic to get your external data into your Atlassian world. All right, and what worked best for us is a hybrid approach. So what we've done is writing a custom action to one of our third-party services, but then not use a programmatic agent, but use a no-code agent. and call the action from there. This enables us to use the full power of the no-code Rovo Studio with other built-in actions like create page or edit page, create an issue and stuff, and then enable Rovo also to call our external service. All right, I would now start with the demo, or are there any questions so far?
I don't see any questions up in the chat right now, but if some pop up, I'll make sure to let you know.
All right, great, thank you. So I'll switch my tab. So we're back in the Rovo Studio, where Colin also showed you the agents, and our Moco buddy. Moco is our internal booking system where we track our times and have some overview about project and budgets and stuff. So what we did is adding the Moco API to retrieve such information. So when I open my Moco buddy, I can start with show my booked hours of the last week. So I get an overview about all the times I've tracked in there, and see how much time was spent on a certain project, for example. And we see that we don't see it anymore, but we see that Rovo is invoking our action, so calling the external API. All right, I see some times and dates and which project I was working on, and at the end a summary. Another thing that might be interesting is the budgets of the projects I'm working on or where I'm lead, to know how much budget is left there. So, and again, we see invoking the action, and we get a short overview about the projects. Right, and now I can work with that data and, for example, create a page or create tickets out of it, or even create charts. I just want to jump into the configuration of the agent. Right. All right. This is looks the same as the no-code agent that Colin already showed. We have this conversation starters. We have a scenario with the initial instructions. We have some knowledge and all of that. But what's important here is the skills section, where we give the agent the skill to create or edit a page, create charts. And this is our custom action that we wrote in our app to call our Moco API and get those data. So, and the idea is to help project managers to get a faster overview about the projects and the state of their of all of their projects and budgets, but all within the Atlassian world, to then work with it on a page or in a ticket. Sorry. All right, this would be it from my side. I don't see any questions, so I would hand it over to Priyal, right?
Yes, yeah. I just wanted to say thank you, and also a quick shout out if anyone does have deeper technical questions, or maybe a custom tool that you'd like to connect to Rovo and you're not sure how, you can always feel free to reach out to us and we can help you with that, and maybe even set up a session with Colin or Paul to help that go a little bit more smooth. So yeah, I think the next thing we wanted to talk about was a little bit more generally encouraging AI adoption on your team, and also getting access to Rovo within your Atlassian tools. And we have Brielle, who's a licensing specialist and account manager here with us, and she's going to talk a little bit more about how to get access to Rovo, including credits. So
Yeah. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. So yeah, talking about, how do you get access to Rovo? So everyone that is on cloud should now have access to Rovo. Initially, when they rolled it out, they started with the enterprise and the premium subscriptions, and that now has been integrated into standard as well. And as we know right now, Rovo is not being charged. One thing I want to address is they are looking at, in the future, having maybe a usage consumption. When they start to roll that out, they have promised to give us around a 3 months heads up. And how they're going to be looking at that consumption is based on indexed objects. And you can think of those from any third-party integration. So like a Google Doc, or if it's importing a Slack thread, that'd be considered more of an indexed object. And then they're also going to be looking at AI credits. And that's more like your interactions within the chat itself. And the reason I wanted to talk about the credits and why that's important is Atlassian has just announced a new bundle, and that's called the Teamwork Collection. And within that collection, it bundles up several different products. So the first being Jira, Confluence. It also includes Atlassian Guard Standard. And I feel like those three are probably the most common that I see customers already using today. But it also includes Loom, which is Atlassian's video platform, which honestly has saved me from a lot of early meetings when you have, different colleagues in different time zones. And then it also has Rovo, but it has Rovo with the ability to have 10 times more credits. So in the future, that's going to come really in handy. It's going to help avoid any future charges the more that you integrate AI kind of as a teammate. And the other cool thing about the Teamwork Collection is really the cost opportunity, the optimization. And I would like to share my screen and just kind of break down a really quick example of, what does that look like if you were to use the Teamwork Collection, and how does that save you? So kind of showing my screen here, I wanted to just pull up Atlassian's Cloud Calculator. So this is a really great tool available to anyone that you can always come in here, kind of take a look at, where's our pricing looking today? So the example I want to show is if you were going on to the Teamwork Collection, let's say you had 400 users, what is that going to cost you if you did that on an a la carte subscription versus if you were to go into the bundle? So taking a look here, you can pop in your products. And just for the sake of time, I've kind of gone ahead and outlined this here, including what Loom would be. And then again, you get up to 10 times as much Rovo credits at no extra cost. So if we were to break that down, you're looking a la carte around 160,000. Atlassian also has a really great quick sheet for pricing on the Teamwork Collection. So you come in here and you put in your usage, and you can see it's 105 if you bundle. So that right there is just a really quick example of the amount of savings you're getting. Plus, you're getting all that extra AI benefits. One other thing I really want to mention about the Teamwork Collection, though, you do need to be on the same edition. So let's say you had Jira Standard and Confluence Premium. You would have to choose to either upgrade to Premium or to do Standard for both. And it also works on the user tier level the same way. So you would need to be licensed at the same tier for all of the products that are being bundled. I have seen this be a really great opportunity. I have a few customers that recently just upgraded to this. And when they went up at the higher tier, let's say they had 300 users on Confluence and 400 on Jira, they found that a lot of their teams now have access to the products they didn't before for even a lower cost. And that's just, driving more adoption within the team as a whole on how they're using these products. So that's just a really quick overview of the potential and the savings and kind of what's to come with the AI credits and the usage. And if you have any further questions or want a quick quote on how that looks, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Brielle. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone joining us here. Again, another call for questions for anyone who is watching live. But if not, I've also popped in a link there into the chat if you're watching asynchronously with us, and you can always reach out to us there to schedule a conversation, and we can dive deeper into your setup as well. But yeah, that is what we had on the agenda for today. So I really appreciate everyone joining in, and I do hope that this was useful for you in some way. And I hope that you'll take these Rovo tips and tricks with you into the future to help your project management and help your team succeed. So yeah, thank you again so much, and happy playing with AI and Rovo.
Bye.
Thank you.